So, it's become a bit of a regular irregularity for Hasbro to deliver things sooner than the expected ship date these days. But here in Canada, we still usually get things after everyone else. So, imagine how surprised and happy I was when just yesterday I got the shipping notification from GameStop Canada for this. I was really looking forward to this one, even though it's a bit of a shock to see $76 charged twice when I wasn't expecting it to be charged till May. But, you know, you kind of have to learn to expect these things these days from Hasbro. And I'm happy to have it. Streets of Eisley playset. You can't really go wrong with these kind of boxes, but there's something about the colors on this one that seem really appealing to me. This blue sky along the background and the yellow sand. Very Tatooine-y, of course. And then framed by the black box. I think it looks really nice. Pretty much the same on the other side. Have the Disney, Star Wars, and Hasbro logo in the side. Some legalese. On the bottom, you can see all the stuff it comes with. Of course, we'll get to that in a second. On top, we have a picture of the Jawa with some of the boxes. This one looks like a couple of playsets. Maybe even three of them. You can see there's one back here behind the arch. It keeps going. And then this one with the Jawa talking to the gatekeeper droid. Another picture of the Jawa and the gatekeeper droid. This side. Another one against that blue gradient. Well, there's only so much you can say about a box, and full disclosure before I open this, I did buy two of these, and I couldn't wait to film the video. I already opened the first one, and spoiler alert, I like it. But I already know what to expect, but you don't, so I will show you what's inside. I might just have to go full YouTuber mode and name this something clickbaity like unboxing exclamation mark. But we'll do the unboxing. We have the instructions right here. I like that these pamphlets still come in these boxes. There we go. Oops. You're gonna see that this is the stairs for the main piece. And this piece in here is the wall with this bit for the poster that comes with the cantina. And there's the Jawa, nice and protected. And let's see how this one looks. Ooh. I think this is a even nicer card than the first one I got. The first one I got already looked pretty nice. So I gave it the close-up inspection, and indeed this one is a nicer sample than the first one I opened. Well, I kept the first one carded, but the first playset I opened. So I'm going to be keeping this one carded, and I'll get the other one to open and show for the video. On the back, you can see it is VC342. But let's get the rest of the playset out of here. Put him off to the side, just for the moment. Here you can see these little crates. And there's my beloved gatekeeper droid, character debut. This barrel thing, and this pole thing. Get that out of the way. I'm trying to do this so I don't knock anything else down. I don't think there's anything in there. See anything? Nope. There's the door part. Oh, there's definitely something in this one, I think. Oops. Oh, yep. The generator box. Maybe my favorite piece of the set. Nothing in there. And finally, the archway. This is the door piece, and as you might expect with a piece from TVC, at least the good ones, this one has a plastic door, thankfully, You see on the back, it's got this sliding mechanism, so it can slide all the way open and all the way closed, but this is neat. It has a lock, so it's not going to go anywhere unless you really force it. So that's really nice. There's also this piece you can see on the back where you mess around with this handle, and this little piece here moves around, but that's going to be for something else. So I suppose I ought to show the assembly as well, because that's an important part of it. I was kind of confused on the first one because I didn't know what this piece even was, but you can see that these clearly go together. There's a slot right for it. Easy enough. Just slides right in. For stairs to walk down from the door, and you can see someone can stand in here and stand on those stairs. Let's take a look at Jude Law standing in the door. There is a bit of sand sculpted on here, like on the stairs of Jawa's palace, so you might want to be careful of that. But there's also a little ledge there, a flat plane, and that's where you can stand them up. I found that this thing is very simple to assemble, much easier than the Tantive 4 corridor, which I thought was such a pain to put together. It actually took me like an hour to figure out how to make that thing work. But there's these pegs on the sides here. There's some here and some here. And then there's these receiving holes on the other side. And it's got the receiving holes here. And you just snap them together. That's so nice and simple. Same thing for this piece. It's got the receiving holes and the pegs, and you can just snap them together easily enough. And this seems to be pretty modular because there's these pegs all over the place, so you can probably put these walls pretty much wherever you want. Put these two next to each other, and have this one perpendicular to them. I think this is how I'm gonna have at least part of it. We'll see. But yeah, that looks quite cool. And I'm gonna get out the accessories next, but first off, I want to show you the first pack-in character. But it is the TT-8L Gatekeeper droid, and I am so happy with this inclusion. Character debut, one from Return of the Jedi that's never been done, and I love this thing. It's one of those small characters that I've always wanted. I did, back in 2023 now, go for a 3D printed version, and I got my local toy hobby shop to 3D print it for me, but it didn't work out very well. These little spire things on the sides were very thin and broke off, and I was very sad, and kind of lost the motivation to finish painting it and gave up on it. And it sat in a box for like 8 months, but then I was relieved when this was revealed, and I no longer had to worry about it, because Hasbro made an official version, which is much nicer. The only complaint I have is the paint. It's very simple, just this orange blotch for the eye. My camera's not going to show it very well, I don't think. The one in the movie has got a bunch of little flecks of white in there. That's just not present here. But it's got this silver lining around the eye. And these teeth, I want to call them, pretty nicely painted. And this is nice and thick and made of a sturdy plastic. It's not bendy at all. And these are nice and strong, so it's not going to break. And this character that's never been done. So I'm happy with it no matter what. Nothing quite makes me happy like character debuts. See, there's this little peg on here, and a hole on the gatekeeper droid. And it goes right on, and you can move him around using that thing on the back. I do wish there was a way that it could retract into the wall here, but I don't know if that would be possible. And also, if you're curious, no, this the door does not slide down or anything like that panel on the Endor bunker did for R2. Oh, what you are blinking? This is what those look like, in case you're wondering. You get a bit of a spoiler here about the boxes. But there's the moving door, the moving gatekeeper droid, how it attaches, how the walls attach, and showing you can have a couple of playsets assembled together, and the walls go together. Nothing crazy. Actually, I take that back. There is something crazy. It looks like you can put two archways together to have one that's two-sided, so we're gonna have to take a look at that when I bring in my other playset. So let's take a look at the accessories, and I don't know about you, but there's one that is clearly the most exciting, and it's this. The generator box, so as it is called by Hole in the Ground Productions. And let me tell you, when I got this out of the first box, I gasped. Look at the paint detail in here. I hope the camera can pick it up. But yeah, you can see in there, there's a really beautiful shade, dark wash and shading in this thing. And it just brings out that detail so nicely. This was the piece I was the most excited about, maybe aside from the gatekeeper droid from this, and it just looks beautiful. You can see on the box that it kind of looks like an unpainted piece of garbage, but then you get the real thing, and it's gorgeous. And you might have seen on the instructions, but you can pop the lid off and you see inside what it would look like without the paint. So I'm so happy they took the time, the effort to do this. But yeah, I love this thing. And I'm happy to finally have it, because I've been thinking about for years of getting those ones off Hole in the Ground, and I just never pulled the trigger on it. And I'm glad I didn't, because now I have a perfect one from Hasbro, which I always prefer official over customs. Next up, what I call the pole thing. A bit less impressive. It's got no paint and it's only half of a thing. But it's got this grate on the top and this thing where you can plug in your phone. And half of a bowl on the top. I don't think that's going to hold anything. But it stands nicely here. Next, the jar thing, I guess to call it. This one's a bit better. It's actually a full thing. Looks kind of like a pop can or a fire extinguisher maybe. It's got these exhaust ports on the side, a rim on the top, rim on the bottom. Also no paint, but I don't think it's as needed on something that's gray like this. And lastly, these cube crates, which are also on Hole in the Ground. And these also don't have any paint. And as you saw in the instructions, you can take the lid off and store something inside. So that's all the accessories, and as I've been kind of alluding to with them as they go on, you might see kind of a recurring problem here, and the there's not really any paint on this thing. If it had gotten a dark wash like this, I think it would be the best playset ever. But there's no paint in here. This is painted, and this is painted, and this. And that's about it. But you can see on the control panel there's some buttons that have individual colors. So that's nice, but a dark wash would have been would have pushed this set up to a 10, I think. And there's no paint on the door either. And like some other playsets, you can see on the back it's kind of a nightmare. Same with this, but and actually I was wrong. This is a separate piece right here. So this is also not painted. It's just a separate piece. It's some kind of vent, I think. And the other thing I want to note, from the side, this also looks kind of cursed. You're kind of expecting this dome to come over and be like, you know, a dome, but then it just ends. And I think even if you put two of these together, it's just going to be like, go like this. But maybe we'll see how that goes when I get the other set. Let's see how that looks together. So there's one possible combination of two sets. You can see I've got the archways put together here. We'll talk about that more in a second. And I've got this piece in behind here to block off the view down the street. And yeah, just looking at it here, I mean, it looks like a totally believable Mos Eisley street. What can I say? Especially with this piece in behind now. I had to just kind of place this in here. It doesn't attach any way to this side of the archway, which I think is a slight flaw, but I'm not too worried about it because you can just have it sitting here and it's not going to go anywhere. These pieces all stand fine on their own. That is, except for this piece. I said earlier that this is like half a piece. So here's the other one, and like there's not really a way to put these together, and you can already see the flaw. And if you try to stand them together, it's not going to go well. You can get them close enough, and that's about the best you're going to get for a full pole. So I think your only option is going to be to set them against this, which is fine. They have these pegs, or the receiver hole and the peg right here. You just snap them together, real simple like. But these pieces must be a bit warped, or maybe poorly designed, because you try to snap it together and it does that very unsightly gap there. And there's, you see, when I snap one side together, the other one, it's unfortunate. So I wanted to try to replicate how the two sets look when they're put together in the instructions. So you can see here. You can see here the Death Star. No. But here they are. And boom. Yeah, that looks great. I like how they've done this with the wall. It kind of makes this look like a complete building when you're looking down this alleyway. Oh, and this same photo was used for this side of the box, but in color. So yeah, that's the exact same one as in the instructions. Obviously, I don't have the Jawas in here yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next, I wanted to replicate how it looks in this picture on the box. And it turns out I was right, and it does use three sets. You can see this one's a door, there's a door there, and this is a door, obviously. And I only have 2 sets, so this is the best I could do. I cheated, and you can probably see it's the box for the other one right there. And they've done something that I think is really clever here. And if you look through the door, you can see this is just a wall right here, but it looks like it's an enclosed room. Like that looks like it's just, oops. It looks like it's an enclosed room right there. Like that looks like it's like some storage for these little doodads. And I think they've blocked out the light a bit on the box to enhance the effect, but I think that's really clever and just shows the kind of stuff you might be able to do with these sets. And here's one of my own creation. I like this, having both sides of the street going down like this, but also I think I'm going to need more of these. I really like what they did, having having these pieces going down the street like this and creating the illusion of having full buildings down there like that. I like the idea of having this door be open. Oops. Having this door be open and having a wall in here to, you know, make it look like it's closed. I think there's high potential with having a bunch of these sets. I want to see someone, maybe me, get a whole bunch of these and create all of Mos Eisley, I think. Now I think it's finally about time that we get some figures to stand in here to make it look fully complete, and I can't think of a better figure to put in than this. I can't believe I've gone this long without talking about the included figure, but this was what I was excited about with this set. This is just a bonus, and typically when I watch videos and they start with the included figure, I'm kind of like, you know, get on with it. But I was excited to talk about this. But this is nice too. I really like this card back. The Jawa looks really cute there. You can see his furry arms poking out of his sleeves, which is not really an image of Jawas you see very often. And then there's the Jawa in the bubble. Obviously this is going to be a repaint of Tika, but I'm glad we're finally getting it in A New Hope colors. For the record, I consider this a new-ish character. We've never had the Mos Eisley Jawas before. Every Jawa that we've had is for the Sandcrawler, but he looks nice, especially with these soft goods. They're really well done. It doesn't look like it on camera, I don't think, but in person, the color matches really well with the hood. And you can see the back. Just really clean looking soft goods, which is kind of unique for a Jawa. The Jawas usually look pretty beat up, especially with this figure, the off-world Jawa from The Mandalorian. And this is more or less the same figure, except for the bandoliers and the soft goods. You can see that this one's just like a straight rope all around. And this one has these pouches sculpted on. And the two bandoliers, the new one, are separate pieces. So if you so wanted to, you could probably take them off and flip them around. I'm not going to do that because this is the only one I have to open right now, and I want to keep it as it is. It comes with the exact same weapons as the off-world Jawa. The same as this one. This blaster is a repaint of this one. No, one on top. The stock is painted on the new one, which is nice. Don't get paint on weapons too often. And then this one. And there's no paint on this at all. Pretty much the same. And speaking of paint, there's basically not a drop of paint on this whole figure except for the eyes. This hood is a separate piece to the face. These bandoliers are just cast in color, and there's no paint on the buckles or anything. The hands are a different color, but those are casting color. And obviously there's not going to be any paint on the legs. So in this whole set, there's not a lot of paint. We got the eye and this piece on the gatekeeper droid. That's 2. 3 with the eyes on the Jawa. 4 with, 4 with the stock on this blaster. 5, the wash on the generator box. And there are 3 different colors on the control panel next to the door. So 6, 7, 8 PNAPs in this whole set. I really hope that that doesn't spell a certain doom for the cantina and that there's a bit more paint on that set. Well, this gives me hope. When we first saw this, it just looked like an unpainted lump of plastic, and it has this beautiful wash. So maybe the cantina will get the same love as this generator box, if it can focus. There we go. Yeah. It's so beautiful. I love this thing. And there he is sitting down. Unfortunately, that's the best you're going to get to replicate the card back, because these figures don't have knees. They're just swivel hips. No knees, no ankles. But he looks pretty good there anyway. I think he's still passable. And, he does have a little holster. But it fits nicely. That's not going anywhere. And there we have it, filled decently with figures. I kind of like how this looks. You look through this archway and you see into my makeshift cantina, and you can see Jude Law in there. Shout out to my first video, I guess. But yeah, this looks brilliant. I think I might need more of these because I don't know, it just looks perfect. So, summary thoughts. Doesn't have much paint. Like I said, ain't paint applications in the whole box. But that doesn't matter very much because just look at the finished product once it's all set up. I think you hardly even notice the missing paint at all. Especially when you have beats like this. We're going to go handheld for this last bit, and this is the bit I'm most excited about because this is the accessories round 2. And we're going to figure out where all of these accessories are, where all of these accessories are in the movie. So the first one that I found was this one, which I'm calling the jar thing. And you can see right here, on the Lars homestead. There it is, right next to Luke's house. Yep, that's it. Next up, let's look at my beloved, the generator box. And you first see the generator boxes as Luke is running past them to go talk to Aunt Beru. And you see 2 more as he's walking up to the pit there. And you see the detail. It looks pretty close. And then you get a better shot of all 4 of them at the end of that short scene. And you can see, yeah. Oh, yeah. That looks nice. And you get to see them again during Binary Sunset. There they are. Generator boxes. I love them. Let's do an intermission to talk about the door. I assumed it was going to be this door that C-3PO is hiding behind when the sand troopers are looking for him. But if you look, here's the control panel on the door in the movie, and it's, first of all, it's on the other side, and it is not a match, as you can see. So this is not specifically C-3PO's door. This is just a generic Mos Eisley door, which I think is fine. It's really meant to be Streets of Mos Eisley, not C-3PO's hiding place. You can see even the texture on the door is different. But if you're paying attention, you can also see something else in this scene. What's that? Is that another generator box? I think it is. And also, right there, that is what I'm calling the pole thing. You can see the brush thing at the top right there. And if we look over here, oh my, more pole things. These ones are a bit shorter, but this one looks pretty close to this too. It took me a while to look for these boxes, and I kind of thought that they were just generic Star Wars boxes, not be sourced to anything in particular. And I was wondering for a long time where Hole in the Ground Productions found the designs for these. And then I saw this one in the scene where Han talks to Jawa, which is the worst scene in any Lucas Star Wars movie. Mark my words. But you can see right here a box that looks kind of like this one. It's the same color of red, but it's not an exact match. And I spent a little while looking for it, and then in the scene where they're seeing the Falcon for this first time, they come into Docking Bay 94, boom, there they are. Let me tell you, I gasped when I saw them. Obviously they're missing paint applications, but it's not that big of a deal. It just makes me so happy to see these. Starting to build out Docking Bay 94. We just need everything else now. Alright, back to this, the outside of Docking Bay 94. And what do we see? Is that another generator box? Yes, it is. And over on the side here, you can see this looks kind of similar to the pole thing. Finally, this scene where the sand troopers are approaching Docking Bay 94. And finally, there's an exact match for this guy, the pole thing. And see the brush is the same at the top. And the triangle coming down. Oh, and oh my, that is our final generator box behind, I believe that's the Prophetess. And if you didn't know, there is the gatekeeper droid. There he is. And you can see the paint is a bit lacking. You see in the movie he's got like these, I don't know, there's like texturing in there and it's almost like it sparkles with red. And they just couldn't do that with the figure, unfortunately. If you look close, I don't think the camera's gonna be able to pick it up. But with my human eyes, I can see that there's a bit of texturing on his face, and it looks like they kind of tried to do that with the texturing. But also, you can see the gray part forms a circle around the eye here. It has these little notches. But this one has the gray part as an oval, or as an eye shape around the eye. And the notches just follow the teeth instead of being their own thing, like on this one. Other than that, the general shape is pretty much perfect. You can see these come down like this in a curve and then go up like this, his arms. And it's the same on the figure. And he's got this piping at the back, as does the one in the movie. It's not quite as long. He should come out a bit further. And you might think the neck is too long, this part right here. But in this scene, you can see that that part is able to extend. So this is like a happy medium between the two, non-extended and extended. So that's it. Those are the accessories. Which one is the star of the set? Is it the character debut, the gatekeeper droid? Or is it this beautiful generator box with the gorgeous wash that I love so much? Or maybe you think it's the jar thing. I don't know. I can't tell you what to think. So that's the Streets of Mos Eisley playset. I love it. I think I'm going to need more of these, especially if I see another one at GameStop Canada. I think this is going to look beautiful next to the cantina. And it makes me a lot more, even more excited for the cantina to arrive. Well, thank you for watching my video about this awesome playset. Goodbye. So, come back next week for a review of The Howler and Sabine from the Ahsoka TV show. Watch your blinky.